Nebraska farmers make a $3 billion investment in the state's future. Good evening and welcome to NTV's Grow. I'm Steve White. Tonight on the show, we're talking planting, and we'll look at the next battle brewing in Washington that affects farmers, plus see what happens when city kids spend a day on the farm. Farmers finally head into the field knowing there's a farm bill in place, but there's still work to be done in Washington over something known as the Renewable Fuel Standard. Here's more.
Hybrids are.
This is 21st century farming. Brandon Honeycutt's tractor knows what to plant where because he's got several varieties he's planting for different reasons.
Some of it to see what works, what doesn't work, and some of it because we have a market for it with the new Inogen corns available from Syngenta for use in ethanol plants.
There's now a corn engineered to work better in ethanol plants, and the Honeycutts do what they can to support ethanol.
It was one of those things that we thought would really not just help our bottom line, but really help promote the industry that we love, which is the ethanol industry.
But the EPA has proposed a scale back, requiring less corn ethanol in the nation's fuel supply.
That will have a profound impact, we believe, on opportunities to encourage additional ethanol investment and additional biofuels investment. We also think it'll have an adverse impact on the ag economy of Nebraska.
Nebraskans have voiced their opinions, with the Corn Board collecting 5,000 letters in support of ethanol. The EPA expects to make a final decision next month. In the meantime, farmers like Honeycutt have gone to D.C. to speak out.
Brought everybody out. They never had a group like that before come out to testify.
Brandon Honeycutt can't be too mad with Washington after a farm bill finally passed.
We've been just discussing that over and over and over, and it's good that they got something done.
But when it comes to ethanol, they're asking the EPA to support biofuels.
Yeah, we're hoping they really take a good solid look at the science behind it and really see that, hey, this stuff works. We've seen it really not just help the farmers, but help the whole country with the gasoline supply, especially on using something that's renewable.
The Corn Board sent all those letters back in January, and they expect the ruling sometime next month. Well, one of the crops the Honeycutts are growing, popcorn. Mark McHarg of Central City also planted popcorn this week. Nebraska is the top popcorn producer in the nation. The McHargs also grow field corn that's fed to their hogs, but they enjoy growing a product ready-made for the consumer market.
Yeah, people like popcorn. I mean, popcorn's associated with either ball games or movie nights or just a snack on Sunday night. And so whenever you tell people you're raising popcorn, they're usually like, really, you're raising popcorn? And so that's just fun as a producer to have that kind of feedback with consumers on something that generally people really like.
Consumers and farmers alike often wonder how growing popcorn is different than growing standard corn. Tune in next week. You may not believe how many servings of popcorn will come from this one field or how far it will travel. Winter wheat is deteriorating in Kansas amid dry, windy conditions and little rain. The USDA reported this past Monday that almost half of the Kansas wheat crop is faring poorly. What little rain Kansas got last week was limited to eastern and northern counties. The weekly snapshot shows 18% of winter wheat rated very poor, 29% as poor, only 17% rated good or excellent. And here's a warning for horse owners, with 2 cases of equine herpes reported, one in Kansas, the other in Wisconsin. Both horses were recently at a barrel racing event in Lincoln and may have spread the disease to other animals.
If they've been at one of these events where there has been a case of equine herpes myelitis, that horses that have been in contact with cases, they do need to be quarantined for a period of 28 days.
Experts say horse owners should be very cautious because this respiratory virus is highly contagious. The first symptoms are a fever greater than 101.5 degrees. That fever usually goes away, but will come back a couple of days later. Other symptoms include signs of neurological disease like hind end weakness, urinary dysfunction, and in some cases, the horse is not able to stand. Davis says it's important to monitor your horse and contact your veterinarian if you're concerned.
Unfortunately, we can have extremely serious consequences. And so we want to identify any at-risk individuals. We want to minimize spread because it is highly contagious. And we want to try to avoid other horses getting sick.
There's no vaccine to treat this disease. However, there are other vaccines that will boost the immune system to help fight the virus. Equine herpes does not affect people, but people can spread the disease if it is on their hands, clothes, or vehicle. Many shoppers are concerned with the high prices of beef and dairy products, but researchers are looking at ways to lower the expense. USDA scientists are finding more efficient ways to feed cattle that could lower some food prices. They're using radio transmitters to track how much individual cows eat and how that relates to milk and meat production.
If we can reduce feed costs, we should be able to reduce the costs that are being passed on to the consumer. And so we would expect, hopefully, that beef prices or milk prices would decline.
Get your tickets now for this year's Cattlemen's Ball. Organizers say there are still a few tickets left for the event. The ball is scheduled for June 6th and 7th at the Hoot Owl Ranch near Harrisburg. The theme for the event is Corral a Cure for Cancer. 90% of the proceeds go toward cancer research at the University of Nebraska Medical Center. The remainder goes to regional medical organizations. For info on how to order tickets, visit our website, nebraska.tv. We've talked a lot on the program about egg education and FFA being at an all-time high here in Nebraska. It's not just the case here. Kids in other states are also learning skills that go beyond cows and plows. More egg programs are taking hold as school budgets tighten and the number of farms in the U.S. declines. Supporters of the classes say they are rich in science and act as stepping stones to careers in everything from urban forestry to renewable natural resources and genetic engineering of crops. Tens of thousands of jobs open up each year in the broader agricultural field, and roughly half are filled by college grads with these egg-related degrees. For many city kids, that first trip to the farm may be something they never forget. That may be the case for some kids at Jefferson Elementary in Grand Island. Mrs. Mueller's class was one of 20 in the state who entered the contest put on by the Nebraska Farm Bureau. Each class submitted a video answering the question, what would life be like in Nebraska without agriculture? Dairy farmer Steve Wolf feels it's important for the students to see what the farm entails at a young age.
They're our present consumer, and definitely we hope they're going to be our future consumer. So, it's great for us to get them to come out and we can show them how we take care of the animals, that the animals are well taken care of, that, we care for the animals.
The class visited the Wolf Den Dairy outside of Kearney. Kids had the chance to bottle feed calves and see how the milking process takes place. Many of the students had been looking forward to the trip for months, and the new experience brought about some interesting surprises for the kids.
Most of the kids have never been to a farm. None of them have ever been to a dairy farm. The most surprising was some of the smells were very foreign to them, but they learned to get along with it.
Two other schools also won a day at the farm. Kindergarten classes from Southern Public Elementary in Blue Springs and a first grade class at St. Vincent de Paul in Omaha. Marilyn is in next to talk about the rules for young farm workers. Stay with us.